Sports app.
We all knew that with DeMar DeRozan sideline, with Malik Monk sideline, that De'Aaron Fox was going to have to do even more than he normally does for the Kings to have a chance to win over the weekend. But I don't think we had any idea how much he was going to do, Trace. Yeah. With 109 points over the two games, nearly dragged the Kings to an overtime win over Minnesota, did carry the Kings to a win over the Utah Jazz. We'll see if he can keep it going tonight, but an incredible display by De'Aaron Fox, who just took over the game, took over the offense.
Yeah, it looked like old Fox from a couple years ago, during that impressive run. But the thing about it too, Whitey, is during his clutch player of the year run, we saw that De'Aaron Fox, but it was in the fourth quarter.
Yes, this was full-time fourth quarter De'Aaron Fox.
Right, exactly. But this time we needed it all 48 minutes from him. So he was impressive, man. He has mastered his game right now, and it's been great to see out there.
Yeah, so only 3 players in history have scored 109 or more over 2 consecutive days. Not just consecutive games, but consecutive days. Wilt did it, I think he did it 15 times.
Or something like that, yeah.
Kobe did it in 2007. At first, I thought Kobe, that would have included the 81-point game, but that's not.
That's what I thought, too. Yeah,
that's not. That's not when he did it. And then De'Aaron Fox. So, Drapes, should the Kings be more Fox-centric all the time?
No. Because what we saw, Whitey, over the last couple of games is De'Aaron Fox take over the offense. The ball's in his hands a lot more. I don't know if you could do that with DeMar and Sabonis out there. And let's think of it this way. That's too much of a load to carry for a full 82. Now, do we need aggressive De'Aaron Fox? Yes. But I don't need De'Aaron Fox to go out there and try to score 40 every single night, because then we become the James Harden Houston Rockets. I don't want that. I don't want him that ball dominant. You got another 24, 25 point per game scorer in DeMar DeRozan. You got Domantas Sabonis, who you can run the offense to. But I will say, I said it during the offseason. You remember, Whitey? I would like to see the ball in Fox's hands a little bit more. And so I want to look at when Domas comes back, when DeMar comes back, how Mike Brown staggers the rotation so that Fox is out there minus, let's say, a Domas, so he can cook, have the ball in his hands anymore. Give him that 3 to 4 minutes, whatever it may be, where he puts the team on his back and we run the offense through him and not always through Domas.
I've thought over the last couple of years, other than those great fourth quarters that he had in the Light the Beam year, I thought that the Kings are probably tougher to guard when the shot selection and the offense is more democratic. Yeah. But the way he dominated this weekend, I realize if you have that at your disposal, it would be foolish not to try to make that key component of your offense more often. I didn't know he was capable of doing that 2 games in a row. So it's clear, like, that's not a problem for him. He's one of those guys who can do that on a night in, night out basis. I think the Kings may have to rethink how much they're going to emphasize him. Yes. Why not? Why wouldn't you?
Because it's only a 2-game sample. It's only a 2-game sample. I don't know of any player that can keep this up and at this high level.
Sure. I'm not saying we need 60 from him every night, but I think a more ball dominant De'Aaron Fox might be
Trae Young, then, in my opinion.
Well,
he becomes Luka, in my opinion, in terms of we've been criticizing those guys that's not winning basketball. Now, are we saying what we've seen from De'Aaron is winning basketball for the Sacramento Kings? I think when you have DeMar DeRozan, like, what do we do with DeMar then? He just standing out on the corner? I just don't see, like I said, maybe you stagger it a little bit. So you give, like I said, same thing with DeMar. So you give those guys their time to, lack of a better phrase, get in their bag and do their one-on-one and, put the team on their back. But that's a lot to ask for, though, Whitey.
Yeah, it is. I know. And I'm with you. And I've, for years, been very much a traditionalist on that. Like you say, it's like, one ball dominant guy, that doesn't work. But when you have a player who could do what De'Aaron Fox did this weekend, if you don't acknowledge that and say, maybe we need to rethink our priorities a little bit. I think it'd be foolish because he was that good. You know, he wasn't a guy who was out there like, well, you know, he's out. He wore out quickly because they were just asking him to do too much. He continued to dominate from the first quarter of the Minnesota game all the way through the fourth quarter of the Utah game. It was staggering.
But that's not a winning formula. And
but they almost won both games.
That's regular season, Whitey. I'm trying to win championships here. The reason why the Boston Celtics won the title is because Jason Tatum and the team realized, you know what? Going out and getting 35, 40 and Chuck taking the most shots ain't the way to do. I got to let other guys. I got to let Jaylen Brown succeed also. Mm-hmm. I got to let, Drew Holiday and Derek White. Like I pointed that out last year with Tatum. Tatum could go out there and score 35 any given night he wants. And he's sort of doing that this year as a sort of a revenge tour. But to win, it's got to be more than one guy. You know what it's looking like to a lesser extent? LeBron, when he faced the Warriors without Kyrie and Kevin Love, putting up a whole lot of points and numbers, but is that championship winning basketball? I do think De'Aaron should not defer to DeMar and DeMontis. I do think
I'm with you.
He should still be super aggressive, ball in his hands a lot, but what we've seen the last 2 days was almost out of necessity, especially Saturday, because you didn't have nobody else to create.
Right.
You know, like DeMar is an equally as good offensive player. You know, if De'Aaron goes out, DeMar can get you 40 easily. And so I just think it's too small of a vacuum. And they were 1-1, Whitey. Like, they did this. The fact remains they did not win Friday. Ultimately, the team game beat the individual player. And so you still need help from other guys.
Yeah. All I'm saying is I think they may want to change their emphasis a little bit. I'm not saying everybody else get out of the way and give the ball to De'Aaron, but there are more circumstances, even with DeMar on the floor, where I think you need to think about that because he was that good. You know, it's like, again, going back to when he was a clutch player of the year, when he would take over games. And Domas would say, yeah, fourth quarter, I just get out of his way. I mean, he's doing that the last two games better than he did in the fourth quarter of games 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and that's remarkable.
It is remarkable, but it's a 2-game size. The dude is in the zone right now. He is in the zone like we haven't seen before, outside of Kobe and Wilt Chamberlain. And, we'll see how Atlanta defends him tonight. Because it is easier, I should say, to take away a ball dominant player. You know what I mean? Like I would imagine, without Domas, and I haven't checked the latest one, he was doubtful. No DeMar, no Malik. Atlanta's going to throw everything and the kitchen sink at De'Aaron tonight. And so other guys are going to still have to make some plays.
Yeah. The big thing that really stood out, especially in the 60-point game, was how well he shot the 3-ball, right? Because, again, he's the guy of all the guys that are struggling on the Kings to consistently make the 3-point shot. He's the one that you could understand because he's got the tendon injury.
Yeah.
But he made 6 out of 10. I mean, and then he made 10 out of 11 free throws. So
is that no longer an excuse? Would you say, like, from
I don't know. It was just remarkable.
I'm just, as
3 of 4 against Utah. He's 3 of 4.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know if he has an off night, if we can use that as an excuse. It's just going to be an off night. I can't say, well, he's dealing with the finger. Well, he just had 60 and 49 with the same finger.
Right.
It shows he's capable of doing that. And no, you're right. I just look at his confidence, man. I just see and it happens because he didn't start out the Minnesota game like that, Whitey. He didn't start out the Minnesota game like he did the Utah game. It was almost out of necessity, if you will, in the second half, especially. I got the numbers right here. De'Aaron Fox in the first half had 21. Think about that, Whitey. He had 39 in second half in overtime. I think he realized, oh, snap. I got to go out there and ball. Oh, snap. I can do this. Oh, snap. They have no answer for me. No, they throw McDaniels on me. It didn't matter. They throw Nikhil Walker, Alexander Walker. It doesn't matter. And so I think it sort of evolved into that. I expect sort of a similar De'Aaron tonight because we're without so many guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see how, if he can pull it off again.
One of the things that was most impressive to me about his incredible weekend was the way you could see he has processed everything he's learned in the NBA to this point. And he basically, to me, he went about it in the 2 games 2 different ways. He had 60 and he had 49. But to me, the way he attacked Utah, where he got to the line 19 times, that shows, to me, that's a guy who has learned the game so well. It's like, all right, maybe don't have quite as much explosiveness as I did the night before, but I still got some tricks up my sleeve.
Yeah.
That was what was impressive to me.
Right. He got to the line. He got to the basket. He got into the paint a lot, too.
Yeah.
He got to the elbow jumper a lot. And Folsom Mike is on the text line. He says, we got to talk about how Fox did it. Over 100 points on 14 3-point attempts? That's the way he should be getting buckets. In weeks prior, it was 24 points on 14 threes.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like he's making a concerted effort to get to the paint, to your point, get to the free throw line, and not just settle for the 3 ball.
Yeah. He actually, we have some numbers we'll go over later. He's actually, I don't know if it's DeMar DeRozan's influence or what. He's getting to the paint, but not getting to the rim quite as much as he used to. But that 3-footer to 10-footer, dominant this year.
Exactly. He's pulling up just
unguardable,
little floater, because he can get by the first line of defense. Now, and Mike Brown's talked about this over the years, the over penetration. He's not doing that anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? We saw it a little bit in that Minnesota game. I think Rudy Gobert swallowed him up. I think it was the first half. But, he's hitting that 7-footer, that little, at the circle in the paint there, just that little floater, like you were saying. And it's beautiful to watch. I mean, and this Atlanta team could score too. So it might take 40 plus again tonight.
Yeah. Have you noticed sometimes with that floater, it's almost like a knuckleball? There's like no rotation.
Really?
Yeah.
Just
it's like
just let it push.
It goes in. I'm not criticizing, but normally you see guys and they shoot it, and he shoots almost a little knuckleball, no spin, but
it's not like a
flick.
It's more of a little push.
Yeah.
I think
it's a put, not a.
I gotta check that out tonight when I watch.
We're looking for light at the end of the Kings injury tunnel. Is there any? We'll let you know next on Sactown Sports.
Join Sacramento State football